Welcome to episode 86, where we continue exploring Robert Greene's The Laws of Human Nature. In the world of American business, there's a legendary story of two titans battling for control: John D. Rockefeller, owner of Standard Oil, and Tom Scott, head of the Pennsylvania Railroad. Their intense rivalry reveals how sharp thinking and bold decisions can secure major victories in business. After Rockefeller took over most of the oil companies in Cleveland, he didn't stop there. He used the same tricks to buy up oil companies in other big cities like Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, and New York. His method was always the same. He'd go after the biggest oil companies in each city first, showing them his company's impressive books. Once a few big companies gave in and sold to him, the smaller ones would get scared. If any company refused to sell, Rockefeller would sell oil for less than them until they went out of business. By 1875, Rockefeller controlled pretty much all the major oil refining in the United States. He even dominated the worldwide market for kerosene, which people used for lighting at that time. This made the railroad companies very worried. Rockefeller now had so much power that he could push them around when it came to shipping rates. But it got even worse for the railroads. Rockefeller started building his own pipelines to move oil. He even bought some railroads. This meant he could move oil without relying on other railroad companies. Tom Scott, who ran the Pennsylvania Railroad, was the most worried of all. The Pennsylvania Railroad was the biggest company in America at that time. Scott had an impressive background. He even worked for President Lincoln during the Civil War, helping to manage the railroads. Scott decided it was time to fight back against Rockefeller. He had a plan. He'd build his own network of pipelines and buy up new oil refineries as they opened. This would create a rival to Rockefeller's system and keep Scott's railroad in business. But Rockefeller's response to Scott's plan was unexpected and shocking. Instead of fighting back directly, Standard Oil shut down almost all its refineries in Pennsylvania. This meant Scott's pipelines and railroads had almost no oil to move. If Scott managed to get any oil, Rockefeller would sell oil to other refineries for much less, no matter how low the price got. Rockefeller even made it hard for Scott to get the oil he needed to keep his trains running smoothly. Scott's railroad company had spent a lot of money on this fight and was losing money fast. But Rockefeller seemed willing to lose money too. It looked like Rockefeller was okay with both companies going broke. Scott was in too deep to back out now. He had to cut costs by firing hundreds of workers and paying the rest less. This made the workers very angry. They went on strike, and things got violent. Workers destroyed thousands of railroad cars. Scott fought back hard, but the strike kept going. The people who owned shares in the railroad were getting very nervous. All this time, Rockefeller seemed calm and kept pushing. It was like he had nothing to lose. Finally, Scott couldn't take it anymore. Somehow, Rockefeller could handle losing all this money, but Scott couldn't. Scott had literally run out of money. He not only had to stop fighting Rockefeller, but he also had to sell most of his refineries, storage tanks, ships, and pipelines to Rockefeller. This was a huge and embarrassing defeat for Scott. He never recovered from it. A year later, he had a stroke, and within a few years, he died at just 58 years old. This story shows how Rockefeller used smart and aggressive business tactics to win. He was willing to lose money in the short term to gain more power in the long term. He also understood his opponent's weaknesses and used them to his advantage. Rockefeller's victory over Scott proved that Standard Oil wasn't just an oil company anymore. It was now powerful enough to beat even the biggest railroad company in America. This changed the balance of power in American business, making oil more important than railroads. The battle between Rockefeller and Scott teaches us important lessons about business strategy. Sometimes you have to be willing to lose money now to make more money later. Understanding and controlling key resources, like oil, can give you a big advantage. Knowing your opponent's weaknesses is crucial. Being patient and thinking long-term can help you win against seemingly stronger opponents. In the end, Rockefeller's clever and aggressive tactics allowed him to beat a powerful opponent and become even more dominant in the oil industry. His methods were tough and sometimes harmful to others, but they were incredibly effective in building his business empire. Rockefeller's approach to business warfare set a new standard for strategic thinking in American industry, demonstrating that with the right combination of foresight, resource control, and sheer determination, even the mightiest competitors could be brought to their knees. We're currently accepting support through likes on our video, which motivate us to create top-quality content just for you. If you find something relatable, please share your thoughts and personal experiences in the comments. Your insights could be valuable to others. Also, make it a daily habit to learn something new. The content you consume feeds your mind, so be intentional about it. Without careful choice, algorithms might shape your thoughts for you, so stay mindful. Finally, don't forget to subscribe.